What if, for all your life, you have seen one of the most beloved sagas completely wrong? What if I told that the Ice Age, yes, the saga of the mammoth, the sloth and the saber-toothed tiger is not counted as should? Because there is a theory that raises something really amazing. The Ice Age is counted backwards. And if you see it like that, it's not just a comedy about talking animals, it is also a story about the origin of the universe, the evolution of planet Earth and the arrival of the human being. Better stay, because what you're about to see is going to blow your mind. This is the true story of Ice Age. The original story begins in the first movie, on Earth millions of years ago, but to understand this theory we are going to start in space. Scratch. That crazy rodent obsessed with his acorn. Find an alien ship buried in ice and without knowing how it activates the controls. Suddenly we see it creating constellations, orbiting planets, even modifying asteroid trajectories. Ridiculous. Yes. Innocent. Maybe. But yes. It represents something else. Later, in the same scene we can see the collision of two large planets. In this theory, Scrat is not playing, it's representing the Big Bang, the chaos before the order. The collision of elements that gave rise to everything we know. And let's not forget this, on Earth everyone. They panic. A giant meteorite is about to fall. Does it sound familiar? This is how, according to science, the dinosaurs disappeared. But in this theory, it's right there where it all starts. We are going to the fourth film, the formation of the continents. It all starts again with Scratch, which is trying again to get his acorn, then he reaches the center of the Earth with a big crack on Earth. Trying to escape, he starts spinning and we can notice how in create the continents. United at first they begin to separate and float by the ocean. This forming the continents as the we know today. This action makes Manny and his family be separated by the force of the nature. But in this inverted version, it is not a disaster caused by Scrat carelessness. It's the Earth's natural process. Forming tectonic plates, mountains appear, the oceans take shape, and for the first time the Earth looks like the planet we know today. Pirates, sailors, and strange creatures. Those they encounter symbolize the primitive sea, and that we have mentioned on our channel. As in the video of the 5 most biggest animals in history. The third film, The Origin of the Dinosaurs, takes us to a hidden world under the ice. A secret ecosystem full of giant dinosaurs, carnivorous plants, creatures that escape logic. For many it was a strange turn in the saga, but in this theory makes a lot of sense. If you have paid attention, surely already you'll be seeing a pattern here, but we'll explain it later. This moment would represent the era where the dinosaurs reigned. Life was already diversifying and the land was hotter, wilder, and unpredictable. Buck, who is presented as the adventurer one-eyed man who lives among dinosaurs, represents a key figure, the link between chaos and evolution. Although we are not told much about his past and the little that we know, they may be easily lies for his madness. We know for sure that he survived, adapted, and then he taught others how to do it. And remember, if we move forward in this reversed history, dinosaurs are going to disappear soon, and that's why we don't see them more in the movies ahead. The Ice Age 2, The Great Thaw. The conflict or trigger of the film start with a little friend. That's right, it's Scrat again. Thanks that he took the acorn out of a big ice mountain. It begin to separate the mountain, gigantic blocks of ice melt. Everyone prepares for a flood. Manny, Sid and Diego must evacuate along with others animals before the water sweeps them away. But this is a great detail. We talks about an important event in the history of the Earth. It's fundamental. The planet begins to regulate his temperature, ceases to be a frozen place and becomes more habitable, especially for a certain breed that we will see later. The Ice Age for the history of the Earth is the transition between the glacial era and the beginning of a more temperate, where the animals begin to move, migrate, adapt. And there comes Elle, Manny's partner. The evolution continues. Species are organized. Of all the movies, the second, in terms of information for the theory would be the simplest, since it only represents the thaw and the beginning of a new stage. And finally, the first movie, the one we all remember with nostalgia. Our characters are known here. Main characters of the saga, Manny, Sid, and Diego. They during their trip find a baby human and decide to return him to his tribe. Many saw it as a simple story of friendship, where during their adventure they learn thank you to the baby to be a real group, a family. But in this theory, it's the culmination of history. At the beginning, human beings were strange to the mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. They just know it's something new, somewhat fragile, but with a very big future. It's like the history we're saying, the era of animals ends, the era of man begins. And yes, that last scene where the baby go back to his father. It's not just the closing of the film, it's the symbolic beginning of humanity. Surely you think it's crazy, since we see how they meet characters from their travels and Manny even manages to have a family. But you have to sharpen your senses to see the little details. In the first movie there is a scene where they pass through a cave and we can see paintings, rupestries. Among them there is one that catches attention of the protagonist. One where we can see a family of mammoths. We all thought maybe it would be Manny remembering his youth and how he separated from his parents. But there are details that can indicate to us that may be an ancient to his family. More specifically about her and her daughter side by side, we can see the obvious similarities. In addition, we can also notice sadness in Manny's eyes. This when he see that one painting where human hunters separate the male mammoth of his family, which could explain why Ellie and his daughter are not mentioned or shown in this film and why Manny looks so sad and without motivations. You will surely have realized that in the first movie is the only one we see humans, which wouldn't make sense if you're supposed to the films go in chronological order, since they must have crossed paths more times with our protagonists. This is because we have been telling the story backwards. Humans are not the beginning of history, they are the end. Surely you remember that mythical scene where there are several frozen things, as it was a museum. Does it sound familiar? Exactly, they are glimpses into the past of characters. Currently, when we want represent something prehistoric, in addition to fossils, we also usually associate it with ice, either mammoths frozen or Neanderthals frozen, etc. Therefore, since it is the event that they have already experienced our protagonists, these are frozen. This symbolizing a past life. Although all the characters grow up, mature, get older, there is one that for some reason is always seen the same and that it is always in conflict with nature. Scratch. Many think it's a simple comic relief, but in this theory Scratch represents something much deeper. Surely you've heard of the theory of chaos, eternal chaos, the lack of control of the universe. Every time he's close to getting his acorn, something goes wrong, causing earthquakes, thaw meteorites, planets crashes. Scratch can be interpreted as a symbol that the world will never be stable completely and that, although humanity has emerged, there will always be an element outside your control. Scratch is an agent of chaos. On the contrary, as many think, it is not a divine presence since his actions do not carry a deeper reasoning of wanting to bury his acorn. Think about it. Why would Scratch try to bury his acorn? Surely you think it's to be able to grow a tree from that fruit. But we have seen how he not only tries to do it with pieces of ice, but even an asteroid itself. By being a symbol of chaos, it lacks on purpose, it is a force of nature, it is neither good nor evil. This theory is not confirmed by the creators and it may sound crazy, but what if perhaps the creators have given us this message all this time? Maybe it was only necessary to assemble the puzzles. But tell us, do you think this theory makes sense to you? If you think I missed something, we encourage you to tell us what theory you have in mind.